Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for organizing this. So, about 20 years ago, a high school student studying abroad in Germany tried to take her own life. She had come from Japan, hoping to add a beautiful new experience to her life, but instead she thought, I hate everything about myself, my thoughts, my personality. I've tried to change, but I just can't, and I never will. She couldn't shake the feeling. She fundamentally lacked something, especially when she compared herself to others. That night, the sky was clear with lots of stars, but she couldn't feel its beauty. Life felt so empty and cold. Thankfully, she survived and returned to Japan. After being diagnosed with depression and visiting various clinics and therapists, one day she was invited to a small church for the first time in her life. And it was there she heard the words, "You are a creation of God. You were born to be loved." It was a shocking moment for her. Then she thought, I never knew that. No one ever told me this in school, not once. I always thought I had to be useful to society or achieve something meaningful to prove I deserved to be here. What if I were truly born just to be loved? What if even my personality and the way of feeling were created on purpose? That's actually kind of amazing. That moment at age 17 was the biggest paradigm shift of my life. And yes, that girl was me. Since then on, I knew I wanted to share this truth with children and young people, so I became a teacher. But the reality of teaching in Japan was far more difficult than I had imagined. In a small world of classroom, I saw discrimination, conflicts, and exclusion. Even though I wanted to help every child feel that they were seen and they were valued, I wasn't sure how to do that. After several years of teaching, I found myself one day visiting a student's house to apologize to her parents. They were angry about how I treated the child. I wanted to become a teacher who could tell children you were born to be loved. But I wasn't sure how to become that kind of teacher. So I decided to leave my teacher's job in search of the answer. To join overseas volunteer, I flew to Paraguay in South America. And there, I joined an NGO and started living in a local community. When I visited schools, I danced my favorite dance with children under mango trees, and I started teaching English courses in the corner of the garage at my house. In the small community, I was so happy just to see kids enjoying learning new things and gaining self-confidence. I wasn't just called teacher. I was called by my name, Haruka. On weekends, their parents invited me into their homes, sharing home-cooked meals, often chicken from the garden, and drinking the local yerba mate tea with me in the garden. At last, I felt the richness of life. That said, there were surprises. One day, there was a sports day at school, and I was told that it would start at 8 p.m., so I waited. Then, it finally started after 10 o'clock. It was unthinkable in Japan, where punctuality is customary. But what was even more surprising to me was that no one, an adult or child, was upset by the delay. They just spent time waiting, having some hot dogs, taking pictures, chatting, and saying to me, "Haruka, don't worry, dear." At first, I was upset by myself for having to wait for 2 hours. But once I thought, this cultural difference is kind of interesting, then I started to enjoy the moment. Full of joy, but rubbing my sleepy eyes, I finally stopped dancing with the children at 11 p.m. By allowing myself to step into another world, I learned something vital. It is through differences that we begin to see ourselves. If that is the case, why do we need education? Why do we have schools? Is it to raise children to become useful people in society? No, that's not the reason. That's not the reason. That's not the purpose. Isn't it to raise children so that they can accept their individualities and live their own lives as themselves? Being different is not something to fix. It's something to celebrate. It's something to enjoy. And accepting ourselves just as we are is the first step, fundamentally first step to understanding and loving others. Today, I work in South America department in international cooperation sector, still living in the same question I have carried since my teenage years. How do I become someone who enables others to see their values? Did I stop being a teacher? Yes, perhaps. But I believe I've just simply become a different kind of teacher. You all know word sensei, meaning teacher, means a person who lives ahead. And I know there are many children in Japan where young people are often said to struggle with low self-esteem and comparison with others, still carry the same question I once did. Do I deserve to be loved? As someone who has lived a little longer, I want to answer that question with all my heart. Yes, you do. Unconditionally, you do. You are valuable, just as you are. You matter simply because you exist. And the world is gentle. In this beautiful, diverse world, you will find your true self. Even if I'm currently in a position of supporting international cooperation, one day I will return to interact with a different group of children as a teacher. So I keep seeking the ways to convey to children the beautiful moments and people, interesting people I have met, I have encountered, and the joy of learning new things through sweat and tears. You and I, we are all teachers in a way. Let's remind ourselves of our values. Let's celebrate our differences. That person is waiting for your confirmation. Who can you remind them that they were born to be loved? Thank you very much.